Let me ask you something. Have you ever just felt that living is a lot of work? That deep down feeling that it's all just a bit troublesome? Well, today we're diving right into that exact feeling, where it comes from, and what it might actually mean.
Our guide on this journey is Japanese psychiatrist and author Okada Takashi, and he kicks off his book on this very topic with this incredibly honest admission. He says this feeling stuck with him for more than a decade, and it was at its absolute worst during his university years. It's this really powerful, personal starting point that we're going to explore.
For Takashi, and maybe for some of you too, it felt like this. When people expect things from you, even good things, it doesn't feel motivating, it just feels troublesome. That pressure to meet expectations just feels like a heavy weight.
And then there's this one. Big or small, every single decision feels like a huge hurdle. Picking a career path, choosing what to eat for dinner, anything. It almost feels easier to just not choose at all, because the whole process of making a decision is troublesome.
And this really hits at the heart of it. Relationships, romance, that deep connection, all the things we're told are supposed to bring us joy. But the work involved, the vulnerability, the chance of getting hurt, it all just feels, well, deeply troublesome.
And this feeling can go to some pretty profound extremes. At his lowest point, Takashi writes that he actually used to fantasize about eating grass like a cow. You know why? His logic was that it would save him the trouble of having to earn money just to buy food. That's how deep this sense of trouble can actually run.
So here's the really crucial point. This isn't just about being lazy or having an off day. This pervasive, exhausting feeling that everything is a hassle, that's our doorway to understanding a very specific psychological pattern. And that's the question, right? This moves us from a feeling that, let's be honest, a lot of us can relate to into a much clearer psychological framework. So what do we call this pattern of wanting to withdraw from all the trouble of life? All right, so let's put a name to this experience. Psychologically, it's known as the Avoidant Personality pattern. Okay, that sounds a little clinical, so what does it actually mean in plain English? Basically, it's this deep-seated pattern built on three core things: staying away from social situations, feeling like you're just not good enough, and being extremely sensitive to even the slightest hint of criticism or rejection.
Let's break that down a bit more. Someone with this pattern lives with a constant fear of being judged. They often see themselves as awkward or just not as capable as other people. So to protect themselves, they'll avoid taking risks or trying new things, especially if it involves other people. They won't really open up unless they're absolutely 100% certain they'll be liked. You see, it's a survival strategy. If I don't try, I can't fail, and I can't be rejected.
And you can see this pattern playing out all over the real world. A Japanese study asked single people in their 20s why they weren't looking for a relationship, and a staggering 40% give a simple answer: it's troublesome. Now that isn't just apathy, that's the avoidant pattern in action. The perceived effort and the risk of rejection just doesn't feel worth it. So the next logical question is, where does a pattern like this even start? Understanding its origins is so important because it shows us that this isn't some kind of character flaw. More often than not, it's a result of our earliest life experiences.
A Norwegian study gives us a pretty big clue here. It looked at the parenting styles that people with avoidant traits often experienced. A high-risk environment tended to lack affection while also being overprotective and interfering, a combination that can really crank up anxiety and self-doubt. In contrast, a lower-risk environment was one with loving care that also supported a child's independence. It builds what psychologists call a safe base to explore the world from.
So what happens is, these early environments start to build a kind of subconscious rule book for life. If your early world felt critical or maybe a bit controlling, the logical rule you might learn is this: the world isn't safe. To protect myself, I have to avoid any situation where I could be judged or fail or be rejected. It becomes this automatic, deeply ingrained survival instinct.
Okay, so understanding the pattern and where it comes from is one thing, but what can you actually do about it? The good news is, this isn't a life sentence. This last part of our explainer is all about finding a path forward, both for those who see this in themselves and for those who want to support them. If any of this is resonating with you, the key is not to force some huge personality change overnight. Instead, you gotta start small. Try doing just one tiny thing you'd normally avoid. Maybe it's speaking up for 10 seconds in a low-stakes meeting, or just going to a coffee shop by yourself. Professionally, try to find work that plays to your strengths, roles that value deep focus over constant social performance. And emotionally, just practice showing your real self to one person you trust. It's all about slowly, gently expanding your comfort zone, not blowing it up.
And what if you know someone like this? How can you help? Well, the most important thing you can do is be that safe base we talked about. Be a stable, non-judgmental person in their life. And this is crucial. Avoid applying pressure. Telling them to just get out there or be more outgoing will almost always backfire and make things worse. And above all, just be patient. Trust is really the antidote to avoidance, and building that trust takes time.
Ultimately, this is what it all boils down to. This is the core takeaway. Whether it's for yourself or for someone you care about, progress comes from a feeling of safety. When that fear of failure is taken off the table, the courage to actually try can finally start to emerge. It's not about being fearless, it's about feeling safe enough to be vulnerable.
And so, let's end with this question. It's not about changing your whole life overnight, but just about taking one small, intentional step. If you decided to face one tiny, troublesome thing today instead of avoiding it, what would you choose? The answer to that just might be the first step on a whole new path. Thanks for listening.